Shalom Israel, Shalom. Hopefully everyone is doing wonderful today. Let me start off by apologizing, family. I wanted to do a live stream. I have never done a live stream before, but I was having problems. My phone, the battery went out, and memory and stuff like that. So I'll get better at it. I'll get better at it. But that's something I really want to really begin to do some live streams. I really need to learn how to be more computer savvy. I'm gonna use that term. I know certain things, but I mean, again, it's a lot of the technology, and stuff like that. You know, I'm just really learning. As far as my phone, I have a lot of incomplete videos that I either I'm gonna have to wind up deleting or just maybe comprising some of that data, some of that data, and just making one or two videos or what have you, just for memory's sake. But anyway, that's not a here nor there. But yes, I want to do a live stream today, and I just didn't get a chance to because of that. So Salakia. But yeah, I was having a conversation with my wife, and that's what I really want to go over the topic today, dealing with the conversation that I had with my wife. I think it was really interesting to her. I think she really got a lot from the conversation. But before I get into this conversation, family, let me start off by giving all glory and honor to the Creator of the universe, Yahweh, and to Hamashiach, His Son, Yahushai. I'd like to also send out my humble gratitude to our foreparents, our foremothers, our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and our foremother Sarah, and all the other matriarchs. I'd like to also send out a greeting to the Gentiles that are listening and learning. To you guys, I say Shalom. But yes. Anyway, the subject my wife and I was talking about the serpent. She talked about the serpent in the garden, and one thing that that helps my wife help the relationship between my wife and I is, she'll read she might get up early Sabbath before me, and she'll go do some studying and stuff like that. And then when she come across something, she'll just bring that to me, and because we fellowship with other brothers and sisters, but prior to that gathering, my wife and I we have studies together, and a lot of times I just tell her just let the ruach guide her, and then if there's something that she think her and I need to discuss as for this, maybe giving her clarity on her understanding, we'll do that, and also, I have some stuff that that I may have prepared for discussion for my wife and I. So it keeps us in tune with our spiritual walk together, and also with the Father. Now, with that being said, the subject matter dealing with the serpent, again, I know there's a lot of brothers out there that teaching and stuff like that. It's not so it's not no direct shot at anybody or nothing like that. But that's why I believe in every man should teach his own wife, because again, the spirit of Hasatan is very real, And so dealing with the spirit, dealing with that ruach, right? A lot of our people like to put the spirituality out there, but they miss it. Even though they talk about spirituality, they really miss it because they miss the natural. We are removed from the natural. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't make the connection physically, a lot of times we miss the spiritual aspect of it. I'm not saying all the time. I'm just saying some of the times. We miss the spirituality. Even though we use that term spirituality or spiritual, freely. But really not really understanding it. It's just another popular saying right now. That's just the way I feel. But anyway, I tell you what, let's deal with the spiritual and the natural first before we get into the serpent in the garden, right? Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 46. Howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural. And afterward, that which is spiritual. Like I said, a lot of times our people like to just throw spirituality out there without really understanding that, the spiritual connection. We have to really look at what's going on in a natural sense first. So dealing with that, the serpent in the garden, the serpent and that spirit, the spirit of Hasatan, of Satan, that spirit is still present today. It has adopted or has grown in many other aspects, but it's still the same spirit. And again, like I said, hopefully with this discussion, we can make the connection and see. So let's go to Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3. And let's start off at verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Ye, hath Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. Okay. So we see that the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. So let me say this here, because a lot of times our people think that it's literal beast. It's literally a beast. But the scriptures, in many aspects, when it's speaking in an allegory or similitude, it's just metaphorically speaking. It's to show you a comparison, but it's not literally that this was a serpent and it was a beast. But I tell you what, let's do this. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 3, chapter 3, and verse 18. I say to my heart concerning the estate of man, of the Son of Man, that Elohim might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. Salakia. So yes. So seeing that we are beasts. So the other nations were compared to like beasts when we really go through the scriptures. The other nations were the beasts. So this serpent in the field was really of another nation, was somebody of another nation. And this soul, this person, this being, this spirit went to Eve and beguiled her. Now, excuse me, being that she has a husband, she has a covering. It's her covering job to teach her, to correct her, to lead her. But the way the serpent did, the serpent went around about. It didn't go to Adam, it went to her. And beguiled her. Got her to go against the commandments of the Most High. So we look at the principle, look at the foundation that the Most High, the divine order that the Most High set forth. The Most High, Hamashiach, man, woman, then the children. Now we look at modern terms today. We look at how the system has promoted um, um, the feminist movement, women's lib and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that women doesn't have do not have rights. Women have rights. Matter of fact, the scripture tells us that we're all equal under the law. But there's a divine principle. There's a divine order. So the system has created was something that was anti, not only anti Hamashiach, but anti Yah, anti the principles there. Because this book is about building a nation. It's about building a people, a government, and many other things. Just that's just dealing with this aspect of this discussion. But the system says, you know what? I'll give you welfare. I'll give you food stamps. I'll give you housing. Just do it with the man. Do away with the man. Get that man out of your life. Or the system will say, well, you know what? I'm gonna pay you more money than him. I'm gonna pay you just as much money as him, or more money than him. Or the system say, well, you're more educated. You have more degrees, or you are more educated than the man. So now there's a division. There's a competition. We're competing against each other, or we're divided. We're separate from each other. Because the principle, the foundation that the Most High gave us, the adversary, the serpent, says, no, we're going to do it our way. You're going to do it our way. That's the way the system is designed. So we become dysfunctional. See, the foundation that the Bible gives us is very functional. It's very functional. But here it is. Like I said, the serpent went to Eve and beguiled her. He didn't go to the man. He went to Eve. And here it is, Adam did not set that straight when she came to him. Because again, this how the system does us right now today. Many of our family members are still in organized religion, or they're in society. And when the man says something, it doesn't matter. Because in many aspects, he's diminished as a man. His authority or his place is diminished. And even looking at mainstream religion, most of our sisters are in mainstream religion, whatever branch or denomination she's a part of. And she says, well, I'm going to church and find me a good man. Or the men say, well, I'm going to go to church and find me a good woman. And then when they get together, and then one of them wake up, especially if the man wake up first, to who he really is according to the Bible, it's going to be a problem. Because she don't want to leave. She's not going to leave Christmas, Thanksgiving, things of that nature. She don't want to relinquish that power that the adversary gave her, that equality that the adversary. Again, I'm not saying that the women do not have equal rights. I'm not saying that. But when you put it in perspective about how the system manipulates and use those tactics to separate us as a people, then you build your relationship on the foundation that he gave you versus what the Most High gave you in Torah. That's why we have discrepancies in our relationships. This is why our families are so dysfunctional. Tell you what, we're gonna come back to Genesis. Let's go to Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 3. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. All my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy path. See, a lot of us come from single parent households, and our mothers raised us and stuff like that. So we get those traditions, we get those customs from who taught our parents, who taught our mothers. Because again, women are the biggest influence in so-called church today, mainstream church. Again, I'm not using Shaul's or Paul's writings. I don't want to use it out of context, but this is one of the main reasons why Shaul says, a woman should not teach. Tell them keep silent in the church. Now there were many sisters in Israel that had certain duties, certain authority. Uh, Judges. We had high priestess. So again, but they never got out of order. They never. It was not a competition the way the adversary has done now. The divine principle was still in order. It was still intact. But again, this is why the children are our oppressors, and the women rule over us. What I'm saying? Because again, it's the system, it's the serpent, same spirit. It's not new under the sun. But again, the serpent went to Eve because once you take and you pull the man out of the house, and then you beguile the woman, what happens is that's a trickle down effect. What I'm saying? It begins to have a cycle of repeating the same thing over and over, which makes the family core weaker and weaker and weaker. Because the women say, "Well, I don't need a man. I'm independent." Oh, I believe in God, but we still gonna celebrate those days. Breaking a direct order or commandment at the Most High, because the system says, "Oh no, you can celebrate Christmas. No, your Sabbath is Sunday." See, and then a strong man that's gonna stand in his place, he has to say to himself, am I willing to lose my marriage with my wife? Or am I willing to lose the marriage with the Most High? Just think about that. Let that sink in for a minute. Are you willing to lose your marriage with your wife? Are you willing to lose your marriage with Eve? Or are you willing to lose your marriage with the Most High? Just think about that. See, the serpent, he's very smart. Very smart. Let's go back to Genesis. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 3. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 3. And let's start off at what? Let's start off at verse 9. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden and was afraid, because I was naked. And I hid myself. Now, seeing his nakedness, right? Seeing his sins. But again, I want you to think about this. I want you to really think about this. See, we begin to see our sins, and now we hide from the Most High. Most High still sees our sins. but let's read further. And he said, who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou should not eat? And the man said, the woman whom thou givest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. See again, Adam knew better. Adam, he knew what the Most High commanded. She knew, but Adam didn't stand up. So he was willing to put his marriage with the Most High, his relationship with the Most High, in jeopardy for the marriage of his wife. Let's read further. And Elohim said, and Yahweh Elohim said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. See, again, this is the same thing that's going on now. See, the system giving her what to do. The system is telling Eve what to do. The Most High is telling man, what are you doing? Oh, are you going to let her lead? Or are you going to lead? He's asking Adam. And Adam said, well, the woman you gave me, this is what she's doing. And many of you brothers, y'all are going to follow the women. Y'all are rather put your relationship with the Most High in jeopardy than the relationship with this woman. She's a helpmate. She's supposed to be submission. She's supposed to be under your authority. Again, I'm not telling you rule with arrogance and wrath. But you have to rule righteously. But you have to look at yourself first. You have to look at yourself first. You know, because a lot of sisters are willing to submit to you, but when they look at it, the way some of you Negroes are, they're like, I'm about to deal with that. Might as well go back into the church. They left the church running to who we are as a people, running to the Israelite movement or walk of faith, and get treated worse than when it was in the system, when it was in the church. And then they go right back into the system. They go right back into the system. They go right back to the serpent. They're trying to leave the serpent, and you run them right back into the serpent. Let's read further. Okay. Verse 13. Let's start at verse 13 again. And Yahweh Elohim said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahweh Elohim said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all the cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shall thou go, and the dust shall thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Okay? What you think about this here for a second? See, the serpent planted something in her head. He planted a seed in her head. That's the way the system works today. Then he plants one in her womb. The way the system works today. Ain't nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. once you see it in a natural sense, you can understand the spiritual aspects. You can understand the spirituality, the spiritual realm, and what we wrestle with. You know, again, how many of us are willing to risk that relationship with our wives for the relationship we have with the Father and build on His foundation, or build on the foundation through religion, through the system? With that being said, peace, love, Shalom.